Did you go on?
Hey, Andrew, we're live. There we go. What do we got here? Hello, I'm Erin. We're back. Andrew's almost back. Oh,
Andrew's going to come in a couple of minutes. He'll be right
Andrew
there.
will be there in a few minutes. All right, cool. So I'm going to switch it over to speaker view. Christine, can you do that? Who knows? I like that. That's good. Okay. I'm going to stop pushing buttons.
Push buttons on, good Lord.
There we go. I'm stopping pushing buttons. All right, we're back. We're back for part 3 of the Forgive and Set Boundaries talks. Andrew and I had a good chat this afternoon, and we've really been spending some time kind of considering, what does this look like? Because people get really lost at this point, and what comes after the boundary. So just to kind of recap the last couple sessions, if you haven't watched them, go watch them, because otherwise you're going to miss all the definitions of what we're talking about. So in the first part, we talked about forgiveness being a discipline and an action, a choice, not a feeling, it being the beginning of healing, not the end result, and forgiveness being about freedom and stability in yourself. In the second part, we talked about boundaries. My favorite boundary being I love you and no. I say that a lot. So we talked about, hang on, I'm going to actually just go look at what we talked about. We talked about open-hearted boundaries, meaning boundaries that ebb and flow and breathe, and how boundaries are actually meant to be flexible and relevant in the moment for the situation you're actually dealing with, not like hard walls and barriers. Andrew made a great comparison where we connected forgiveness with boundaries, and then he connected grudge holding with victim. And we talked about how lacking or holding grudges empowers everyone who has ever hurt you. Always a popular topic. And when we set boundaries, we change the relationship. We open the door to hope. When I stay in my integrity and in my heart and compassion, and I forgive and say that's not okay and this is where we're at, I'm actually showing respect for myself and respect for the other person. So in boundaries, we have an opportunity to actually change the script and move forward. We talked about the repetition of boundaries being really necessary, how people like to say, I set that boundary once, I don't need to set it again, I shouldn't have to say it twice. Well, you do. And that open-hearted boundaries mean keeping my heart open and connected to the person, forgiving any transgressions first, and then guiding our relationship and behaviors to be healthier for the long term from a place of mutual respect and compassion. And we do that by focusing on the positive, by focusing on long-term peace, not short-term appeasement, by communicating directly, simply, concise, and we talked about values and having a value system that brings good to all, not just to me. And I think that's a piece that as we move into this week, we need to consider. Because if a boundary is, you know, F you, you're out, A, it doesn't probably bring peace to me. It doesn't bring peace to the other person either. And it really limits the opportunity for growth and change. Not to say that there aren't some times when a boundary does result in parting of ways, certainly. But the long-term good for both people, for me, is really about not investing in futile or dark patterns. I don't want to become part of the pattern that's bringing you down any more than I want to run a pattern that's bringing me down. I don't want to do either one of those things. So that's kind of the basis of what we covered in the first 2 weeks. And after those boundaries, after that boundary set, we're going into realistic, peaceful coexistence. What do we do after we actually set the boundary? What does that look like? And how do we find peace with it going forward? It looks like Andrew's just about ready to join us. Are you there, Andrew?
The question being, was I ever here?
Ha 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 ha.
The ultimate philosophical question. Was I ever here?
I'm wondering if
Are
you're
we
now, if
really
people can see you.
here?
I don't even know. There you go.
And
Christine's
then
still
I found out that I was in denial. And then it became, do I want to
Not
be
just
here?
a river in Egypt. What is that?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Then it became, do I want to be here? Then it became, why don't I just shut up and enjoy the fact that I live in North America? Start there. I'm
Yeah.
male. That helps. I may be colored, but that's a lot better than being female. There you go. I'm not indigenous. Whew, dodged a bullet there.
Yeah. Good score
That's
on
a
that one.
rough, that's just the lovely country history. It's amazing. Lovely. So then I started going into other philosophical questions, which brings me to today. Hi, Erin.
Hi. I just did the summation of the last 2 weeks.
My timing's perfect then. Cheers. This
Cheers.
is
I got
pomegranate juice.
my water bottle of love.
Surrogate red wine, pomegranate juice.
I would like pomegranate wine,
I don't know if they do. I know this.
but somebody should.
The juice is damn well good enough. You don't have to make wine.
Mm-hmm. Probably give me a
Now,
headache now.
segue me. Now, it's interesting. People only knew. So I haven't seen you in God knows how long. First face to face.
Friday the 13th. March 13th was the last day we saw each other.
Yeah, but yeah, we've been around. We've worked with many clients.
We're on the phone all the time.
Constantly and on the internet
Yep.
and FaceTime.
We have a pretty peaceful coexistence.
Well, funny enough, I was going to say, well, this is the interesting part. Here you and I are right now in this talk. And when I thought about it, we define peaceful coexistence.
Yes, totally.
People attack us. If they attack you, God help them.
Yeah.
I'm not a pit bull for anything, mind, body, spirit, but I don't control it, but I don't let people mercilessly rip you apart and malign you.
No.
For apparently no reason.
Like some of the hardest boundaries I've had to set have been with people telling me, you'd be so much better off without Andrew. I'm like,
oh, really? She was only my client, and I only took her through every area of her life, mind, spirit, and body, and then we got you in school and
well, okay. I
whatever.
mean, even aside from all of the help and support and guidance and all of those really useful things, we're friends.
Yeah.
We're friends.
Now it's time to dump me.
No, but we're friends.
I'm a blemish on your butt. I'm a wart on your ass.
Related to these topics, you will notice that I'm at time to heal.
I did relate it to that topic. Notice where you are, which is why I went right into this.
Let's just get into this now.
Yeah.
Let's go there.
Let's see them out peaceful me. No, I'm kidding.
I will out peaceful you. Oh.
So here's the thing. What I'm trying to say is, because of all the trials and tribulations of building a healing shop that has now been open, how long? How many years have we been
9
open?
years?
9 years.
9. 9 years.
About as many healing shops we've seen come and go. We survived the test of time honorably. We have given to the indigenous community. We've given to families. Now we're going to be getting involved with the Chamber of Commerce next. I think that we should be very proud.
Technically, we've been involved for a while.
Yeah, well, sort of. Now we need to immerse ourselves.
And your audio is weird. Is that you or me?
Both of us.
What's up with your audio?
No good? No good?
Is it me or is it you?
Hold on.
No, I think it's me.
Okay. Can you hear me?
We'll
So
see if that's better.
have you got it?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Well, you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay, so our segue is simply this. What doesn't kill you indeed makes you stronger. And time to heal.
Recap the intros, that's Andrew Louisi. I'm Erin Capella,
Oh, yes.
co-owners of Time to Heal here in Duncan.
Yeah, it's like a friendly chat show. So I feel like it's kind of like the mixed ethnic Mr. and Mrs. Robinson and Mr. Dress Up or something. I don't know. Welcome to our neighborhood.
Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers.
Fred Rogers is a good man. He's a great example of good values that bring good.
And funny, when I saw the show about him,
yeah,
anytime I saw him with a child in particular, but also in nature, all you can see is peaceful coexistence, funny enough.
Well, it was actually part of his mandate to teach it.
Well, I don't know the history of him, I must admit, but
Fred Rogers is great. Mr. Rogers is awesome.
I can see that in his persona that he would probably be a fairly peaceful man. That brings us to our topic, and I'm also trying to say why we are so peaceful now is because we went through hell, so now we can appreciate peace. I mean, you have 2 kids, that's not peaceful yet. We can find peace.
Quiet, but it's not peaceful.
It's peaceful because it met your desires for what you chose for your life. And you get to live your dream. Living your dream is a part of peaceful.
Definitely.
So promoting someone to live their dream in a relation probably would bring peaceful coexistence.
It would bring it if people could do it.
So we'll be pointing these things out, I guess.
Yes.
As we talk tonight, because again,
I will remind the audience to post any questions you have, and we'll do our best to answer them. So feel free to throw questions out there in the stream chat, and we'll do our best to answer them.
Interestingly enough, we've been given examples all week of what peaceful coexistence isn't. In case you haven't noticed.
I have definitely noticed. We've been mapping it. It's been fun.
In numerous areas of our involvement in community and around us, peaceful coexistence was not in a good example. In fact, people tried to learn peaceful coexistence though, and I see people struggling with it conditionally. So it's going to bring up a whole can of worms of things, but we'll try and narrow it down tonight.
We're going to try.
All right. Let's start by defining realistic, because we said realistic. We added that dangerous word.
Reality.
Horrible word.
Dictionary definition. Realistic is interested in, concerned with, or based on what is real or practical, pertaining to, characterized by, or given to the representation of in literature or art of things as they really are.
Things as they really are.
Not my ego version of what I think it should be and what I think you should.
Exactly. It's not an ego construct representation there, but it is always relative to your environment, how you grew up, but we all know what fair is. And this would bring up key words like compromise, which we'll talk about later on. But with that definition in mind, that would tell me that we actually paint a picture of our realities. So if you want a peaceful existence, then you're going to start painting that vision of it. But you don't want to taint it with only your personal flair. You want to represent what you see as that vision in your actions as you paint your reality.
So I went to art school, and one of the things I learned in art school when I was learning to paint was to paint things as I actually observed them, not how I thought they should be or how I thought they were. It had
paint
to
them as you see it, don't paint them as you know it.
Yeah, paint it as you see it, not as you know it. Or paint it as I see it, not as I think it should be.
Oh, that reminds me. You have a colleague from the university that came to our business.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to contact her because I like how she paints as she sees it.
Okay.
That
All right.
reminds me of her.
Cool.
right.
Painting how it actually is, not how I think. So when I think of what is realistic, I think of that I need to see myself and other people as we are in reality without denials, which means without filtering through past hurts and traumas and without filtering through like rose-colored idealism, right?
So it
Sitting in that
requires a
discomfort of,
balanced emotional state with realistic viewpoints based on our current real values that have worked outside of our contrary patterns. Real values outside of our contrary patterns.
yeah.
Oh, that can be very realistic.
And then looking at myself and the other person as both just struggling, imperfect human beings.
That can be very realistic. Because again, somehow we're combining the fact that struggling human beings have to have peaceful coexistence.
So I can share why I'm at Time to Heal right now.
Please do.
Because my husband was struggling to be supportive this evening. So my peaceful coexistence was, okay, goodbye. I'll see you later. So
I love us because we're like raw. I mean, that was so live. I almost feel like doing a murder rap to that.
Oh man, I was
Abandoned.
transmuting like a ball on this drive, for sure.
Wait. Abandoned. So you think you're a man then? But look what she went and ran from. That's right. You're dumb. She's really angry. And now she's free and you're stuck with the children.
Yeah.
That's the end.
So we could have gone with.
Not stuck with the children. Your kids are beautiful.
Yeah.
But it could have worked out.
In his mind, he's now stuck with the children because I've abandoned the family for 2 hours.
Yeah, but it's not like he could have known that like we do this once a week, like at the same time, like every week.
He's having a moment.
Oh well, okay. I'm not gonna spar again with Yark because I respect him and I get it again. But what I am gonna say is I love the fact that we talk so openly and honestly.
And in that, like one of the best boundaries, like one of my favorite boundaries I've ever set was when I told him years ago now, okay, I can do this. I am prepared to fight you for my career. I got it. We got like 30, 40 years to figure this out. We'll get there. I am prepared to fight you for my career. I love you. I'm sure we'll figure it out.
And you have continued to fight.
I have continued to fight him for my career, and he has learned to be supportive along the way.
Yes, I want to point out positively.
He's doing great overall.
A lot of compromising, more than most people can do.
Yes.
He's been very, very awesome.
Totally.
So,
but he has a blip. So he has a blip. So I have to reset a boundary.
Sometimes we need to reestablish the lack of control we have.
Yeah, and I'm also going to pick up ice cream on my way home, and I let him know if he needs anything just to text me because I got my bank card, and we'll carry on with the evening as fine. And so therefore, I don't need to have a grudge. I don't need to go home after the fact and be. I don't need to
Oh my God, I was always so natural at that.
Yeah, but most people aren't.
Say that.
Most people
exactly. So how do we do that? Well, we use all the disciplines. We transmutate.
I forgave him.
Right? We transmute. We use transmutation. You use forgiveness. I use forgiveness. We use acceptance. I let go of grudge holding, as my partner would tell people that people know. I don't hold a grudge. I don't hold a grudge. And with any of my clients.
Yeah.
Oh, you must be so mad at me. I really let you down. You must hate me after what I did and all that. No. You let yourself down, first off. And number two, I don't really know hate anymore because I've taught myself why waste emotion on something that only makes me feel bad about myself. So over the years, I've learned how not to hate. I have some heavy dislikes.
Yeah.
I can bemoan situations without hating them, but I can detest them.
Yeah.
You know, but lately I don't even detest much. The bottom line is you learn to discipline so that you can tolerate being on earth. Straight up.
So if I track through what my process is even today for that peaceful coexistence, is I already forgave him.
Yeah.
I'm already also focused on what he's actually trying to say in his heart and trying to hear what his actual values are and what he's actually asking for, and seeing where my behavior could adjust to meet him in that connection. I'm already doing that. I'm already seeing what I can compromise.
I automatically do that too. If they're mad at me, there may be a reason.
There might be a reason.
So maybe outside of the immediate stupidity of the situation, there's a deeper picture to look at.
Exactly.
I can't take this back to me no matter what.
Yeah.
And trying to avoid this situation next week, even earlier, I'll make it clear that I'm not going to forget this night, whatever.
Yep.
And that I'm still going to do it for the good of my future in the healing community, my business, and my self-values and my self-worth and my positive contributions. Right?
Yeah.
These may help our marriage, honey. Me having this foundation of self may be helpful to the children's long-term stability and future, dear.
I probably won't say all that because,
I know, but I'm just saying.
It's true.
Maybe he could look at it that way.
That would be a choice that I have no control over whatsoever, but I can certainly continue guiding us in that direction. Would you just mute yourself?
Oh, it was an accident. Sorry. I'm getting so worked up about this.
Peaceful coexistence is also then I'm going to go home with an open heart. I'm not going to hold a grudge. I'm not going to bring this into tomorrow.
Very important.
And I'm going to consciously do the opposite of what I want to do, which is just yell at him. So I'm going to come home with ice cream.
So we have a set program of doing the opposite.
Doing the opposite is brilliant.
Transmute, forgiveness. We do this, and we've done it for so many years. I've done it from decades now, and you've done it for a long decade, and it becomes more natural.
Well, and here's the reason, right? This is what everybody forgets. Why would I do that? Why would I get ice cream? Because I love him. Because he's my husband. Because we're committed to each other and our family, and it creates a stable home when we're kind. So
your values and foundations for long-term commitment outweigh your short-term stupid reactionary
pissed off
conflict. I'm afraid of conflict.
Righteous indignation. I've got a bit of righteous indignation.
How could he do this to me? To me.
Yeah.
This involves ego construct as well.
Totally.
You know.
I still got a bit of righteous indignation.
Why would they do this to me? And then you can go into victim. Oh my God, our marriage is over and we'll never, and we'll... Yeah, we hear it all the time. Sorry, that was a really accurate representation of what people just don't hear themselves. Say, oh, you poor victim that you invited by your choices and your actions. I get it. We're in your corner, but here's a way out, and you want to focus on staying in. Victim.
Yeah, but you summed that up last week, Andrew.
Hey?
That victim thing comes from grudge holding. It's a lack of forgiveness.
Of themselves, too. Well, because, I mean, we'll take a victim and say, here's a torch out of here. Here's a map. Once you get out of here, send you back to the city. Here's all your provisions, your supplies, your backpack, your compass. We'll send you with a guide and make sure that you have a lit path all the way.
It's raining!
Yeah, but it was raining. I said, okay, then. Nah, you knew where I was going with that. Very good. You see how many years we've done this together?
Oh, my God. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. So they'll focus on one minor negative point rather than the 2,000 positive points. And it'll all be short term. It's raining out. Like that's going to last forever.
Forever.
But self-esteem does, if you choose a positive one. Self-worth does. Heart values do. Actually, they actually do last forever. Your heart harmonics vibrate to forever. Now, Can peace vibrate to forever? Peace is forever. That's the beauty. I mean, I just took a heavy quantum leap there. I didn't know I was going to do that. Can peace?
Carry on.
Okay, can peace last forever? Peace is forever. So not being in peace is confluent to the designs of all that is. Come on. A universe will sit there stable for hundreds of millions of years. And we can't stay stable for a day? Come on. Let's get real here. So you're telling me, which is a really funny way to look at it. I'm making you laugh. You're making me laugh. Stop it. Well, I'm just saying. Yeah, I mean, we sit there and we talk about this. And so everyone doesn't realize you're in total ego construct. Total ego. Everyone, you're all the same, including us. It's not like we're perfect, but I'm saying we catch ourselves. We humble each other, you know.
And we have people who hold us accountable. We have trusted people
we'll
like
phone
each other.
And say, I am sad and I want to do mean things to people I love.
Totally.
And you'll say, here's a good idea why you won't do that, Andrew. And I'll say, I knew that. But I just thought I'd tell you that you should tell me I know that.
I mean, that's at least half my conversation. Anime.
Yeah, right.
I got feelings about yelling at people.
And by the way, I need Anime to know, we had a meeting of the counselors, and after meeting, I left you alone because you deserve to be left alone. Just so you know that, in a positive way, because the other one's got a bit of a ride with me. Doing some realities that Christine can tell you about, Elena, everybody.
It's good.
Yes, but Anime, it's just that you've come to such a wonderful point in your life. Let's not rock any boats. How's that?
There you go. What's good is good. Good is good.
Good is good, Anime.
Okay, you're saying peace is forever. Basically, you're saying that peace is what is, and then we like to screw it up.
The rest is an aberration thereof.
Which, I mean, to be fair, is like the human condition. So, you know.
Yes. So the human condition is an aberration of the peaceful foundation of forever. I get it. So we're here to wreck the party. I get it. We're the anuses at the party. We're the guys who crash dorm parties because they weren't invited and because they're ugly and women don't like their hairy everything and they're drunk all the time and obnoxious. We're that to the earth and existence. Yeah. So
just compare to humanity to a drunk, arrogant party crasher.
Yes. Yes.
Cool. Yep. I mean, I don't disagree.
Every day, all day. And we do that not only to the earth, but we do it to our families and our environments and our world and our self-worth, our self-esteem. We just aberrate. We just move off into directions of total chaos and create futility that we then try to solve. So
it was very arrogant.
There's an arrogance.
There's an arrogance in that.
It became clear to me that what man through all history, when you keep rerunning the tapes, the whirlpools, which we also talked about earlier, Aaron, for a whole 30 seconds. The bottom line is the arrogance involved in assuming they need to wreck things to appreciate things is the human condition. There it is.
Bring it back to what peaceful is.
This is not the idea of peace.
No.
Now, do we want a perfect world where nobody tries to mess? We can't have it.
It's impossible.
Without struggle, we don't have the friction that's created to create the energy for us to be here.
Well, we only learn through struggle.
We need struggle to stay in physical realm. That is a human condition. That's not the human condition. That is the challenge. The condition is we've learned to think that that's the only reality. My God, those are wise words.
It's a good thing we recorded that. That's awesome.
Thank God we recorded that one.
We'll have to go back and search that one. I'll have to type that out.
Like, listen,
Yeah.
did we write that anywhere?
No,
Yeah,
I didn't write it down, but it's recording, so thank God.
Okay, well, that's the truth.
Yeah, maybe somebody will type it in the chat for us.
Somebody send that back immediately. Oh my God, that
Somebody
was
type that. Okay. So in order to get out of that aberration, out of wrecking it, out of the ego construct, and just say, I want a peaceful coexistence.
Yes, but wait. Notice the point is that we choose to. We know that struggle is a part of the way. So instead of focusing, fine-tuning struggle, we fine-tune futility.
Yeah.
That's the human condition, our addiction to futility.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys see it out there? And wait, I'll show you how it looks. There it is.
There you go.
3D futility. All right, so.
Yeah, Christine just typed 30 minutes in. Andrew said a brilliant thing. Thanks, Christine. Very helpful.
I'm glad you're timing how long it takes now as I get older.
Yeah, we are. We're 30 minutes in. Okay, so you struggle, futility, we fine-tune futility, and then we expect other people to co-sign on our futility and not set boundaries with futility.
No,
so
you get free reign with your futility, especially after you marry me. Free reign futility.
Okay, so
on every way, on mind, spirit, and body. Embodiment.
Okay.
Remember that.
Yes, good. That's another brilliant thing. Cool. So option B would be what we're aiming for here, that a lot of people don't know exists.
What's that?
Peaceful coexistence.
Oh, what? Those words don't really go together.
Sure they do.
There's an oxymoron.
No, because you can choose. Okay, here. What's the? I've got the unknown author. I got the unknown author quote.
Oh yes.
Peace does not mean to be in a,
Bob. Start again.
It does not mean to be in a place where there is no noise, no trouble or hard work. It means to be in the midst of all of those things and still be calm in your heart.
I found great peace in that.
Right?
See, that made me go, So that leads back to how we opened this whole shabacle, this talk.
Shabacle.
Yeah, it's a good word. I was talking about the fact that Time to Heal has taught us the art of peaceful. It's an art. The art of peaceful coexistence. Take that masterpiece. And you do it by attaining your dream. You do it by learning forgiveness, acceptance. You do it but we have other protocols, though, we should talk about. How about putting the shoe on the other foot, which I mentioned already?
Compassion.
How about redos? People have an argument, and I do this with my clients and my partners in my life. Redos.
Yeah, we've done
that didn't work. Let's walk out the door, come right back in, and let's take two, and let's redo it.
Redo the whole scene.
It's the best discipline you will ever learn in any relation you have, including with children.
Oh, yeah.
We're having such far-range reaching results with that. And you know who I'm talking to out there who use redos. They're amazing. Are they not, Miss Elena?
Amazing.
Thank you. I can almost not say your name. Elena? Okay.
So the reason why people don't do redos is because their ego won't let them.
Which leads us to another wonderful topic, ego construct. The deadly EC.
Well, something you said earlier was everybody thinks they're realistic based on their ego concept of what realistic is. Reality sticking to a moment is realistic, but how sticky is it when two people are trying to glue something on the same paper? It can get messy.
You get all my best tidbits.
I try.
That's a good one.
It is.
You know, I just picture kids in kindergarten. And I picture adults arguing is the same thing, trying to stick the same picture, holding the same end on a piece of paper down. That's how it looks to me.
I see no difference between adults fighting with each other and my kids trying to figure out how to get along.
No difference.
It's exactly the same. Use your words, be kind,
Here's
listen.
Adults should know better.
Should
Know better.
Kids tend to figure it out faster.
So what is it that adults forget? What's missing here in our peaceful coexistence? How are we going to go back to that husband who's abusive and screams and yells? Let's get real with how hardcore.
To be fair, my husband is not abusive and doesn't scream or yell.
Oh, not yours.
I know, but you know, we were talking about mine earlier.
Oh no, yours is great.
He is great.
I told him how much I respect him, and he's a beautiful father, and he's
sure.
a man. So
absolutely, so he has moments.
Male shit that doesn't appreciate women.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I call myself on it publicly.
Mm-hmm.
So why not? You know, the woman that I appreciate and respect, I hold their husbands accountable. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Out of respect to those husbands. Now, yeah, let's not torture each other. Let's enhance each other. What a concept.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we're all brainwashed there, and we haven't talked about that. Maybe we've been all brainwashed to not think of peaceful coexistence as the ultimate goal.
Yeah,
Maybe
so
we were taught that you work hard and you retire and try and cling to anything that was good.
Well,
but yet not coexist with it. Yeah. People don't know how.
That's called patriarchy.
Yes, it is.
That is the patriarchy. I shall dominate it and control it, and then it will be happy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They did all the right things. They should be happy.
Yeah.
Right?
I did it all for you.
Right, they should be happy. You're just like your father. How can you not be happy?
Yeah. I did it all for you. You should be happy.
All these things are bouncing through our brains, and now let's peacefully coexist with someone that we love.
Yeah.
Right.
Past all their brainwashing.
What's wrong with this picture?
Well, in the boundaries that we set, what did I actually say? Hang on.
Oh, it's good, an Aaron quote.
Yeah. Where is it? We were talking about.
Take your time. I know you're a speed reader. I can see you digesting 6,000 words per second. So it's like if anybody's going to find it, more than likely you will.
Okay, so what people do, right?
Yes.
Set a boundary, then feel betrayed that the person didn't immediately change their behavior, and then go to victim about it. It just suffer in expectations.
Absolutely. We can call it suffering and expectation.
Yeah. So what we do is we set the boundary, we adhere to the boundary, we repeat the boundary, we hold ourselves accountable and respect the person's right to choose. But what we do is I focus on my highest light in who I am, and I focus in that person's highest light in who they are. And that's what we talk to. Again. Yeah, like.
That's forgiveness.
It is forgiveness, but it's bigger than that, because what you're talking about and how do we get out of the brainwashing of all of this just futile bullshit is we have to imagine
light past what you're focusing in the short term.
Yes.
Wow, that's a discipline. Not many people can do that, but anybody who knows me knows I live by that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I will go off on my clients when necessary. I can be a tough ass drill sergeant of the nastiest. And yes, people out there, I look like a huggy bear or whatever.
And turns out you're actually a, 60-year-old Caribbean male.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can be.
You can be. You got your moments.
And I can also be a 60-year-old huggy Teddy Ruxpin.
Oh my God, Teddy Ruxpin.
Teddy Ruxpin.
Yeah.
Is that the right name? I'm just hearing the name. What is he?
Teddy bear from a cartoon in the 80s,
yeah, that's
I think.
Me. Teddy Ruxpin.
There you go.
Okay, not. But the fact of the matter is the loving that I give is totally only because I don't hold grudges, because we have very difficult clients. They forget that.
And families.
And families. Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Let's throw that in the mix. But of
Yeah.
course, they would see us as a difficulty. But what they failed to recognize is that we actually learned the program and turned our lives around. And then we started teaching the program and living by the program. I did so and then guided Aaron. And Aaron's been guiding people for more than a decade. So they don't account for growth, change, which I call transformative, positive, new realization. Change. Wow, look at that. I gave the intellectual transformative, right? It was so nice, but it's just called change, folks. And some would call it metamorphosis. I agree in that. I believe that we should always metamorphosize. I believe that we are always transmuting, but we can transmute in becoming anopods. My new word that I've learned since our first
It's a great word.
Yes, because the pods can travel and they can adhere to other people's colons.
Do they swim in schools?
And they can infiltrate into people. Anopods, they can really affect your life, your being, your emotions, your sensibilities, your values, your senses, your foundation. Beware of the full-blown anopod. Yes, we've now put out a warning, a national warning. So what we've learned through this is we have foundational practices, Aaron, that we now naturally use that work. Therefore, you and I, even if we have conflict,
which we do,
immediately, we both transmit at the same time, we both shut up at the same time, and we both think there can be a better approach. We don't have to say, shall we redo? We may have once or twice in a decade.
I don't think we've ever said that to each other.
No, we haven't. We just naturally do it. Wow, look at that. Therefore, we don't hold grudges. Look at that. But we have something, civility.
This helps.
Aside our egos. And to me, when you put aside your ego, your selfish ego, that's called civility to me. Anybody. So you can have a civility in any tribe, in any part of the world, in any primitive or advanced culture, at any given moment, you can have civility. Look at that, right? Now look up the word civility.
Yeah, I'm on it.
I know you're on it, because you're so pooped together.
But now you're gonna I just did bullshit like 3 minutes ago, and you're gonna say poop together?
And I want to comment on some of my friends, people who kidded me about me saying I don't grow pubic hairs on my face. When they said, when our first talk, was there anything else worthy of mention? I'm glad I don't grow pubic hairs on my face was my answer.
So civility, which that was not, courtesy, courtesy, politeness, a polite action or expression.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. And if we all did that, we'd probably talk better, right? If we were civil. What a concept. Being civil.
Just go with kind. I just take it back to kindergarten and stick with kind. Just be kind.
Okay, back to the pubic hairs on my face again. Here's the thing. It was a metaphor. And if one thinks about it, it's about comfort zones and where things decide to find their comfort, and maybe some places are where they're supposed to be. But if you take the same material and move it to a different place, it's not the same. That's all I meant. But my mind works in a very odd metaphorical way, and I did take that a little bit too far.
We're gonna need to streamline it in.
I
don't think people know what we're talking about anymore.
Well, that was actually during the first talk the first week, and I said that comment, and I've been teased about that comment. So I'm clarifying. It was metaphorical, and I'll try and streamline my pubic hair to the face comments.
All right, there you go.
Thank you. Thank you very much for hearing me.
Okay.
Now.
Where are we?
Here we are. So now we're at the point where we recognize our certain systematic approaches that we do naturally is why we teach it naturally.
Well, we do it naturally now. I certainly wasn't doing it naturally when I met you.
And I certainly wasn't doing it naturally when I wrote the workshops.
Yeah.
I didn't do it naturally until 15 years after I started teaching the workshops. So you do have a valid point.
No, we learned this.
And I don't like saying I wrote the workshops. The truth is I channeled them. They just came out.
No, downloaded. Downloaded's a better word.
Downloaded.
Channel
Yeah,
just
I like
is
that. That's
kind of
my,
old
yeah.
school. Yeah. Just download it from the cloud.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
I downloaded.
no problem.
No, then they'll think I just took the information. No, I downloaded from a very much higher place.
A higher cloud in the stratosphere.
Not above, not on Earth.
There you go.
But the neat part being is that it took me so long to learn them and to work them that I have not taught Workshop 3 to anybody but Erin. Erin's the only person on Earth who has done Workshop 3 because she lived it.
Yep.
Her and I have learned to live it before we taught it, so that people can't say poop about what we are doing.
I love that you're trying to edit yourself now that I don't have kids in the room. It's weird.
For the first time, you don't have kids in the room, and I haven't sworn once. There is an injustice to this.
Okay. All right. So we were talking about the addiction to futility and how we're brainwashed into futility so that we wreck the peace that we can naturally have by investing in futility.
Oh, we invest heavy.
So people compromise themselves around the old sick patterns.
Yes.
And then go back to the old ego construct.
Every
right?
time.
You were saying earlier, where they think they're safe. We're safe in our comfort zone of our ego construct, even if it's destroying our lives and the people around us.
In the long term in particular.
In the long term in particular. So then people keep digging the hole of their reactive responses and create a whirlpool of stupid.
Now, here's the neat part. The word whirlpool.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I'm having a really good time doing talks with you. We're really, really fun. This is really fun.
I enjoy us.
I mean, I'm at Elena Bushner's woman retreat, and I'm sitting in the living room, and I'm looking at this gorgeous garden I wish I could share with you all, where Elena and Chelsea have planted, and they do all their gardening and bringing everything into their home. And these two have taken a crash course with me in 2 years, and they've found a way to peacefully coexist. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful in 2 years. And I'm feeling overwhelmed by all this moment. Whirlpools. Whirlpools. Now, here's the thing. People always think of whirlpools as sucking things in and just your relationships in a whirlpool, and it's horrible. It's horrible. How about this? We can look at it in two ways, in fact. How about if we look at all that information you've learned, you can now polish in the vibration of that whirlpool and bring out the other side, the other good stuff with you. Well, there's one way to look at it. How about this? What about if whirlpools reverse? And it's going, wait, camera's here. It's going down the whirlpool. Why not come up the whirlpool and get spat out the other way?
Hey, Andrew.
Yeah.
The image that we use for workshop 2 is a spiraling staircase.
I'm so deeply touched. That was Erin's edit. I did not know she had changed it to that. I am very
7 or 8 years ago.
Yes. Oh yeah. Sorry.
Long time ago.
I should remember every small detail, and I'd be perfect.
No, but we use it as it's the metaphor for
Yes, I know.
For how you get out of the spiral.
Why is it that we always think a whirlpool is bad? Because either way, it can be remarkable. It can be accelerated knowledge used to a finite point, or it can be the widening of an idea or a concept or an emotion.
But the widening of the idea and the concept requires me being humble enough to consider other people's concepts.
To include in the new wide whirlpool that can fit in other things.
And as that reverses and grows, then I get peace with my family around. And then the ripples grow, and then we actually have like amazing Christmas dinners.
Which actually occurred.
It's beautiful.
And I can actually have amazing conversations with my father at the age of 90, who didn't really start learning how to love his family in a humble, beautiful way until he was 84. And now he's like fucking Santa Claus, okay?
He totally is.
Every day. Oh, Oh, I fell the other day. You know, he's a cool guy,
He's great.
right? And he's totally changed. And
Yeah.
gives us Aaron credit for not taking his crap a lot too, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Calling him on his stuff. And you did. And so did I.
Oh, yes.
Continuously, I did since I wrote the workshops for 20 years, say I can't adhere to that based on it upsets my long-term plan of positive, peaceful coexistence.
That's funny. Yeah.
Isn't that weird? I didn't remember that. It upsets my current long-term plan of peaceful, positive coexistence, is what I would tell my father.
Yeah.
Could you write that down?
No, but it's recorded.
Oh, good enough. Yes. So that's how you set a boundary. Sorry.
Yeah. So in that boundary, like a lot of the boundaries that I've set have been, you know, like I've had friends go totally sideways or whatever, and basically come at me with, "I love you, and we can be friends as long as you pretend blank." And I'm like, that's not going to work for me, right? We can be friends as long as you pretend not to see that I'm in another abusive relationship. We can be friends as long as you pretend to not see my denials. We can be friends as long as you co-sign on my dark.
Yep.
Now, my response in that boundary and in that peaceful coexistence is, I can't do that and maintain my integrity. And I love you and I accept your choices.
Exactly.
And then we let them go.
People don't understand how to say those words without going, fuck you. You see,
We have to forgive them first. That's what part 1 is. Part 1, forgive them first.
Yes. You know, because people just can't do that. But how about this? Forgiveness, as you said it, with the imagination of what that bigger picture that you love in that person, what you see they're doing to attain that, and imagine them as that, and then imagine what you're letting go of that they did, and see the bigger picture of that's who they really are, this bigger one.
So what I find when we do that, and we imagine the positive in the person or in the positive in the situation and the long-term good that could be,
yes,
it creates long-term peace, because in that boundary of I can't co-sign on your dark.
Yes.
When they get sick of their crap,
yeah,
they know that I see their light and I see through their crap, and they come back. Right?
Well, that's
when people are ready to get healthy, they actually come back because they know that I'm stable, in that we never judge them. Like, you do the same thing. There's never any judgment. There's total acceptance and respect. And it creates hope and actually a roadmap. Like, I don't know how many friends have come back going like, you used to be crazy and you're not crazy anymore, and that seems to be working well, so I want some. Right? Like, it creates hope for people in not co-signing on somebody's dark and not repeating the futile pattern of total suffering with them. You create hope for them that there's another option in the long term.
Recap, because we're talking a lot of stuff that people aren't familiar with.
Yeah, we're all over the map on this one.
Okay, but it's a beautiful map, and we lay it out well with our hearts.
Yes.
Here's what we've laid out. Humans are addicted to conflict and struggle. It's called the human condition. We're not saying it shouldn't exist. We're saying there's a more appropriate way of handling it. There's a more positive choice to get better long-term positive results through certain disciplined behaviors that require discipline and practice over time. In that time, you can learn new foundations and values that will make you more realistic in how you can coexist with others, or what you want from others or desire from others, and share it in a more practical way, holding yourself accountable to these values. We teach behaviors that instill these values, such as do the opposite. That is a discipline that is good.
Forgive first.
Yes. Transmute. Take it to a higher place. Such as, take it away, Aaron. Forgiveness.
Well, forgiveness, watch part 1. We already talked about forgiveness to death. Forgiveness is a discipline.
Yes.
Not a feeling, it's a choice.
But they're all disciplines. How about this one? The one that I live and die by. Put the shoe on the other foot.
Mm-hmm.
That is the best discipline for me. Imagine being them talking to me. And guess what? You'll find out 9 times out of 10 if you're a male that you probably would have beat your husband.
That's true.
If you put the shoe on the other foot and you're a male. Like I'm saying, it's amazing women just don't take up a bread knife and go, I love you. It's amazing. I still don't get it. Why women just don't. I know you love your car. And I know you love your golf clubs because you took that car and those golf clubs away 2 weekends in a row. One was our anniversary. Oh, by the way, you forgot it. And I'm going to have them meet in the most beautiful wedding ceremony right now because I'm taking this 9-iron to your Thunderbird, bitch. No, I'm saying, but
that's
women
not
don't do
peaceful. No, yeah.
No, I know some psycho woman, very few, because they have that country stupid song, took the key and scratched the truck or whatever the hell. But the bottom line is,
Not
by
familiar.
and large, women do a great job of not strangling men. Now, let's reverse the table.
Mm-hmm.
Men do a great job of not going effing crazy with trying to understand what women don't even understand in themselves. Oh, I can't really say, but I need to know logically why you're crying about what you can't say. I really need to fucking know because I will go insane. My reasonable brain can't just say, go to your heart and just know that. I've got to analyze this and know every fraction of your emotional depth so I can predict when to run.
Or go golfing.
Or whatever. She's like, I can't, but I know I hate you right now. What the hell? That's like, what? It's like, oh my God. We start with communication maybe as a topic too, right?
Okay.
Go.
Where do we want to start with that? We're gonna come back to that. We're gonna go back to the discipline that you were just talking about.
Okay, so
It's
here we
discipline,
are.
stability, and consistency.
Yes.
So peaceful coexistence is actually about maintaining the discipline of forgiveness and consistent boundaries to create stability in the relationship.
Very important. And here's the other things that you and I take for granted, maybe. We don't even take them for granted.
No, we don't.
Is that we also know that nothing is really established if people out yell at each other.
Yeah.
So even if we got heated with each other, we both backed down.
Mm-hmm.
Except twice when I was your healer and I saw your long-term future going down the drain. Then I came in heated.
Yeah, and twice when I just had enough.
And you've done the same to
Yep.
people you know.
I
So
set some hard boundaries too.
That's in 11 years.
Yep.
Yes, but by and large, we've learned peaceful measures, doing the opposite, imagining the highest of that person. I, in fact, always say, right now I'm so mad at you, I'm going to hug you. Things like that.
When I've been like really, really angry, like if I go and I've been like really just right pissed off at you, right?
Yeah.
I go to, well, I know I'm dark and not making good choices right now, so I probably shouldn't make any lasting moves right now. So I will revisit this in 3 months when I know I'm stable, and I'm pretty sure I'm still going to be right, but I'll come back to it when I'm stable. I don't make long-term.
Live on stage right now.
Yeah.
She wasn't correct. I very much so. I love taking Aaron's advice. I process it based on the needs of time to heal her long-term future and the long-term future of others. I don't base it on my ego construct of what does Andrew need for his comfort to make it sure that he's the boss of the business. For one, we're partners, and for two, Aaron's the boss if anybody chooses. I'm putting you out there. I simply am a healer. And there you go. So.
But what we do, right? But that's what I do. In that moment of I'm pissed off.
Yes.
I go, well, I'm clearly so pissed off that I shouldn't make any drastic long-term decisions right now. I'm going to table this for when I'm stable. We naturally then just work it out later.
We work on naturally. Or I'm going to table this and drop it like a bomb in reality when he screws up and does it, if he does. Which you've done a couple of times. And I go, oh, yeah, you may have a point now.
Yeah.
But
I do it, but when I'm stable. I don't make lasting long-term decisions when I'm feeling unstable.
That is true.
I table it. I go, I'm too unstable to make a decision right now. I'm going to just, whatever. Which is about the discipline, right? It's discipline because stability, if I can stay stable, that means I actually have peace in my heart. Then I'm creating peace and security.
The discipline makes it last. The discipline
makes it last.
For the long term. That's why the word exists in society, to create some kind of long-term stability in anything.
Well, and here's the thing. We know this for kids. We know that children benefit from stability, routine, clear boundaries, clear guidelines, what's okay, what's not okay, right? I mean, all of the parenting stuff will say, consistent routines for children create safety, predictability, and a sense that they can trust the foundation of where they're living. We know that kids raised in chaos struggle, right? If you have stability, you create security, and then stability creates healthy attachment, which requires discipline and consistency.
Okay, so here's the funny part. What do children require to feel safe? Discipline, stability, and consistency.
Yeah.
So we're all children who keep forgetting that's what we require to feel safe.
Yeah. We need boundaries to feel safe.
Do you ever wonder if the all-knowing being or the essential energies wonder, do we not recognize we embody the word moron?
I'm pretty sure the higher beings know this.
Do we laud ourselves above?
You think they'll ever figure out they're morons?
Look up the word. I want to know the exact definition of moron, because I
probably totally inappropriate knowing
say
you.
Moron, less off, or more on stupid side, or moron.
A person who is notably stupid or lacking in good judgment.
Morons. So we definitely are that. In the long term, based on the futile scale of how we treat the world and each other, we are morons. By definition, folks.
There's also a outdated offensive psychology definition of But,
don't read it because that's outdated and offensive.
Yeah.
Go ahead and read it. You brought it up, so.
Psychology no longer in technical use, now considered offensive. A person of borderline intelligence in a former and discarded classification of mental retardation, having an intelligence quotient of 50 to 69.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I find those people to be geniuses. They have more peaceful time than I do.
Without a doubt.
No, we're the morons, high-functioning intelligence people.
So we're sticking with notably stupid or lacking in good judgment.
Morons. Definitely us. The whole world. Everyone. That's how, by the way, put the shoe on the other foot, remember. That's how the spirit world sees us.
A bunch of morons?
We're like cows in the pasture. We're just grazing morons. Just consuming the earth and spitting out whatever toxins and pollutions wherever we can without any accountability and destroying it totally. We're shitting in our own environment. And the spirit's just going, oh my God, those are some morons.
Okay, so how do we create a different outcome?
Well, here's the cool part. I don't feel like a moron lately, and I don't think you do.
No.
I think what happens with peaceful coexistence, which we should be trying to point ourselves in the direction of with everything, I think just pointing yourself in the direction makes you not a moron. So you can adhere to any of the things that we've recommended today and try one of them to prove to yourself, I do not want or desire to be a moron. Really. I mean, we definitely have solid, we have clients, you can go online, talk to them, people who work the program, people who are really excelling in life. You have all these hundreds of choices, but what do we say? But it's raining.
Okay. Yes. Again, if you have questions on any of the things we're talking about, post them, and we'll.
We're talking about peaceful coexistence. I'm your host. I'm your co-host, Andrew Luisi, and we have our hostess, Erin.
Yeah.
And we're talking about realistic. That was what changed this whole talk. It wasn't, we're talking about peaceful coexistence. And then I would have opened, think of a hummingbird. Hear its wings flutter. Picture the... No, we're talking about realistic peaceful coexistence. And that's nitty gritty stuff. This is the stuff that is it's the bottom line, the difference between liking yourself or loving yourself. It's the difference between depression or I'm oppressed, like we all are, but I can rise. Depressed, I'm just gonna stay here crossed. Suppressed even. It's the difference between, realistic is the difference between successfully communicating from our hearts to successfully communicating to improve our heartful stance. That's a very wise statement. That was the second one, Christine. Please type in how long that one took. Because I actually, that's a deep one. So let me simplify. Being realistic would have us treat others as we want to treat ourselves as we want to treat others, and vice versa. There you go. That's realistic. That's common sense. Hi, I want to be loved. Here's love. I'll take that love back. Thank you very much. Hi, I want to be loved. Can I have some love, please? Well, where are you going? Why are you running away? Wait, right? So it's just common sense.
Or here's some love, get smacked in the face, and then be like, why won't you love me more?
Yeah, I'm saying it just triggers one bad chain reaction after the other. I don't like saying whirlpools anymore because the actual whirlpools we create are our choice. You can whirlpool that person hitting you to a positive way to know what's healthy for you, to set boundaries. So you can whirlpool yourself to a heightened sense of values, judgments, boundary setting, setting yourself free, communication, on and on.
To be clear, that doesn't mean I can whirlpool into saving him and changing him.
Or I can whirlpool into I'm suicidal over some idiot who can't respect me.
Yeah.
Why not whirlpool to the highest of who you are? Why not whirlpool to a new dimension of self? Why do we always have to sink in whirlpools? Why can't we spiral through to a new dimension? Why can't we? Why? Like, why is it have to be sad endings? We're programmed to believe that. Do you know if you look at nature, whirlpools, they are the most amazing phenomenon in nature almost ever, even much more astounding than thunder and lightning, which as a child always amazed me.
Yeah, when you grew up on the prairies, you got real thunder and lightning.
It's just bigger, static. But
whirlpools cool.
Are a whole new ballgame of reality. Very complicated occurrences have to occur in the water to create a whirlpool simultaneously, if you think about it, in the middle of nowhere. The waters have to meet in a certain way. There has to be certain temperatures, thermals. It's like a backwards water thermal. And it's astounding. Where do they go? Well, they just suck to the bottom and then they dissipate. And I love them because of the fact is that they come and they disappear. So why can't you not whirlpool to a higher self and then step through on the other side, swim back up to the surface?
Dorothy did.
Man, a new woman, a new
Dorothy
self.
did.
Dorothy did. A tornado was a whirlpool. Very good. Thank God she bailed me out of that one. People go to their whirlpool.
What the hell are you talking about? Let me go back to what you said a minute ago, which was about self-respect and using a whirlpool to heighten yourself into your highest light.
Yes.
So what we're talking about in the peaceful coexistence and maintaining the boundaries is honoring who I am in my highest light, seeing the other person as who they are in their highest light, and guiding the relationship to highlight both of our light.
How did I know that? This is amazing. Do you know, I asked what time it was, exactly 7:11, reality through the gates.
Perfect.
Yes, and you just said something really so high that most people will reject it, so repeat it slowly.
Honoring who I am in my highest light and seeing the other person as who they are in their highest light, and guiding our relationship to highlight both of our light.
What a concept. Why wouldn't we do that? Now, I've got a new word. It's really a great word. It's called no-rom. Would you like to know what it is? Moron in the mirror. You just did a no-rom. You're in the...
I don't know if that one's going to catch on, Andrew.
Yes, so what? I'm telling you, you just did a no-rom. You did the opposite. Thank God. I'm actually just so proud of you. I always sit here proud of you. You see, people don't understand. Every person I do business with, anytime you see me on the website with anybody, it's my clients who have excelled to my period from impossible odds. They've drugged themselves out of hell. Dug themselves out of hell. They drugged themselves out of hell.
No, they drugged themselves into hell.
Drugged themselves. Be it through drugs or dragging themselves. That's very clever.
Right.
And I drag them, but not, I drag or drug them out.
Pretty much.
I get them out of there. But the people I partner with work the programs. So when you word things like that and you taught the workshops for, and no, we're not trying to market workshops. We're doing the opposite. We're saying if you're a no-rom, you'll want to inquire our workshops. If you're a no-rom, you'll want to hear to see, you'll look at our clients and see it works. You'll hear our words and think, I don't want to be a moron anymore. And yes, I look at people and think, you are a moron who is quite lovely. There you go. But Erin does not do that. She is the much more cynical, but much less, let's just say I can be raucous at times.
Good word.
I can be that. But I stand by it. I keep wanting to retract those words. No, we're all morons, but we're all lovely. I mean, I am so impressed with the human everything. I'm so amazed that we're even alive. We kept each other alive through communities. Peaceful coexistence once was a way, by the way. That, of course, got his ego developed. Ego developed with possessions, and possessions developed barter. Barter developed monetary and values. And people lost the values as soon as they started valuing the possessions more than the spirit. Boom.
Okay, so that's how we got here. How do we get out of it?
How we get out of it is by doing the opposite of that trail that I just pictured. Let's go back.
Value people more than possessions. Value the connection. So when people think of boundaries, because we talked about boundaries last week, so people think of boundaries, they think of walking, what did you say this afternoon? Walking into different rooms and not talking to each other. Or I would highlight it saying people picture a healthy boundary as moving to a different town, preferably a different time zone, and then there's peace from the people you love. So the values in that.
Don't get any of that. I
get it. No, I get it. Like, let's talk about, okay, when I met you, Andrew, my relationships with my family were so unhealthy and heartbreaking for me that I was refusing to go home for Christmas. I was living in Vancouver and I was refusing to go home for Christmas.
Yes.
Right? With like, you have to come home for Christmas. I'm like, you can't make me. I'm not getting on that ferry. No. Right? Because that was the only boundary I knew at that point.
You were safeguarding yourself, I know.
Totally. But that's what people do. And so if I got stuck there, when really, I mean, you know, I love my family. I love family. I love community. My values is really, my heart was broken because I loved my family and I couldn't figure out how to be healthy with them.
Now, here's the beauty of Time to Heal.
Mm-hmm.
The principles that I taught you, that we teach,
yeah,
had you go back in there with your healthier values and stand by them in principle.
Well, you taught me how.
Yes.
So I learned how first, but I didn't like disappear for 5 years. No, we just learned the values and stuck with them. And then you taught me how to set the boundaries. So like a lot of those boundaries, if I talk about like with my family, were really hard. So,
yes,
you know, like some of it was, you don't get to talk to me like that. I can't be talked to like that. I can't engage in a relationship like that. I love you. I'm hanging up. You don't get to treat me like that.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I always, as we do now.
Yeah.
Without clients, you think they're going to get rid of you. Oh no, their dark will try a different way to bring you down. They're not done with you yet.
Yeah,
You're not so lucky yet. So they may back down in that one area. They'll find another way. But
okay. So
progress. Go ahead.
Okay. So the initial boundary was, for example, you don't get to be verbally abusive and throw tantrums at me and crap all over me and then just expect me to get over it, never bring it up, and that's how we have a relationship. I'm not playing that game anymore.
Yes.
So I set that boundary, and that resulted in somebody I loved not talking to me for a year.
Oh, yes. I remember.
So at that point, people go into total fear.
Yes.
That, you know, how could I possibly set this boundary because I need these people. It's my family. I love them. Like I have to, right? And then people think that, oh, so you're just telling people to abandon their family and get rid of the relationships. Oh, no. Because after that year, when I stuck with the boundaries, it helps people actually remember that they actually value the connection too.
Exactly. They value you more, and you know, they know you must love them because you're not around them in a grudge and you're not around them hating them. But you did say, this is not going to happen with me.
Yeah.
You did show them that you value yourself.
Yes.
That teaches them to value themselves, right?
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it all. I think it's all perfect. Really.
So people get stuck in what we were talking about earlier is people fear the short-term result of the boundary setting. So they would rather sit in long-term futility in the comfort of familiarity and uncomfortable with all the results and then hate themselves.
Unfortunately, at this point, I have to offer disclaimers for all women in abusive relationships or any children with pedophiles. With people touching them incorrectly, report immediately to all authorities or anybody you know, especially physical abuse or any sexual abuse of children or women. That is a disclaimer that's necessary. Trust me.
Totally.
So, okay. So now continue. But in general and in large, yes, what we're showing works in affecting our families to consider their actions and behaviors and to respect you for not tolerating theirs or their conditions on the love or what they give you.
Yeah. So I was talking about this with Christine earlier, and she asked me, Well, so now all those relationships are actually really good. Oh, overall, I'd say the max one took about 3 years
Yeah.
to go from like totally unhealthy to actually quite a stable, loving relationship. And Christine asked me earlier, how did you maintain hope during that transition time that it was worth it? And I kind of went, nah. My hope was for a sane and stable life. I didn't know if they'd come back. I knew that I wasn't going to be abused. I knew that I have love, and I knew that my integrity is worth it, and I knew that I am worth it.
So
I didn't know the result.
No. So here's the thing. People are afraid of losing the people they love.
Totally.
They take crap and shit.
Yeah.
And then they lose heart for the person they love.
Yes. And then they have to go live in a different time zone because they can't stand being around the person that they love.
So it's like, do we deal with this now or do we wait till it gets to that? Or are people doing stupid things like keys to trucks and hitting each other and all these bizarre notions of I love you that once was?
Control and expectations and torture,
Ego
suffering.
constructs. It all comes down to these two words, ego constructs, and what we do with it. And either we share a light version in the long term, and when we do, usually we're working towards peaceful coexistence in a realistic way.
Yeah.
That is the long and short of it. Yeah, when you have a real bearing on understanding your ego construct, we define ego, dark and light, but it should have values that have the disciplines we talked about. Do the opposite. Put the shoe on the other foot. I put it on a movie screen.
I do too.
And I watched the show of what just occurred in my interaction with that person. I watch it like we're doing the reruns of the day, what they do with dailies that they do in movies, with movies. And I'm watching the daily. I'm like, oh shit, I said that? Oh my God, that's some savvy acting on my part. Maybe I should have considered how they felt more. Ooh, I could change that in the script. That was kind of cold. It holds you accountable to the whole scene, not just that other person acting. You are part of the scene, folks.
Yes.
Note to self. People coming to Time to Heal forget you were part of it too, weren't you? One-sided script and movie. Boring.
It's true.
But everyone presents it as such.
Every time.
Every single time. So I hear it as a movie and I picture being their mate. I put the shoe on the other foot and then I hear from their mate and I put the shoe on the other foot and then I rewrite I see the actual movie that occurred and I try and help them be in the audience to see it.
Okay, so to correlate that, because this is a great, so I'm going to say what I said again.
Yeah.
People fear the short-term result of the boundary setting, so they would rather sit in long-term futility with the comfort of familiarity and become uncomfortable with all the results, and then hate themselves. And then we have to take a person who hates themselves and ask them, do you like being married?
I did like
That's an Andrew quote. That was a fun one.
Oh my God, that's so funny. And then, but then that's what we do in counseling and therapies and all. So do you like being married? That's the dumbest fucking, what are we thinking when we talk? What are we doing in society? Let's get realistic. Do we like the concept of being married? Yes. Do many people like being married? Apparently not. Based on the counseling industry. Apparently, there's a huge, big, tall, long order on disliking being married. And this is where we go back to the key phrases. Moron. Oh, just that one. There you go. Why would you choose this whole big program, this whole big pomp ceremony, this whole, my God, commitment, contract, children, life plans, and I hate you, and you're a jackass, and F you, and come on. Where was our substance and foundation and values to get to that? So there's got to be some kind of approach that promotes a much more way for us to coexist, even with our families.
Especially with our families.
Yes, and it comes down to values and people learning the values of disciplined love and non-conditional love, but disciplined boundary-setting love. But with that learns the word compromise, communication skills. What a concept. And we offered some foundational ideas to you to promote discipline yourself towards those very aspects.
Mm-hmm.
I would highly consider them, folks, because then you just spend your life in conflicts and not finding. I gotta say that I'm so proud of the way Aaron and I are now developing Time to Heal and our workshops on WeFlow, which is www.weflow.com.
No, it's not.
No, it's no, we're up. It's WeFlow.guru.
There you go.
And well, in fact, Alana Bush is the partner. This is Alana, Aaron and I's partner in other things to do with Time to Heal, like WeFlow, and there it was at WeFlow BC. Well, no, here we go.
And WeFlow BC on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Yes. And I'm just proud of that. But we're learning ways to coexist peacefully, and we're doing it pretty well naturally.
Well, it's with long-term vision. It's very much about the long term. It's about the willingness.
Getting it.
It's about the short-term sacrifice.
Yes.
Short-term sacrifice for long-term stability and long-term peace.
So, man, what we're recommending for people is to start looking, saying, what were our long-term, no matter how much you had to fight, you can say, what are our, or what were our long-term goals that we've forgotten or that we're going to do? And is this what's valuable to us? And do my actions reflect that? Right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is why I'm going to buy ice cream before I go home tonight.
There you go. Your actions reflect that.
Yeah.
Good. I'm going to say goodnight. I'm done.
I'm gonna talk about a few more things.
I know.
Yep.
I'm on my way anyhow. You know that I have to work. So.
Yep, you're done.
Okay. Can you take
Make
care,
it go away?
everybody? Thank you. I'm really enjoying these talks. I'll see you back for more. Aaron and I are going to really take this to the next level by showing up. Don't be a moron or an anal pot. 2 words you want to avoid.
Don't be either.
No, be a, well, I've already said it. And no rum. Bye.
Okay. Let me recap where we're at. That was a lot of things. If you have questions, please post them and I will do my best to answer them very quickly. It's about the long-term vision, and what Andrew was just saying is being willing to sacrifice my short-term wants for my long-term, to gain long-term stability and success. So right now, in my example from today, right, my long-term desire and priority is a healthy family and a happy marriage. That's my priority, which means I can't go home bitchy, right? It means I have to forgive. I have to focus on the positive. I have to look at what I can do to help move us in that direction while maintaining boundaries that don't invest in futility and don't invest in stupid and dark. And I can be stable with peace in my heart, feeling at peace when interacting. It's not about avoiding conflict or discomfort. It's definitely not about people pleasing. Peaceful for me is about feeling at peace in my heart when I'm interacting with the person. For me, peaceful is very much about stability, so that I can head on deal with conflict or difficult situations or whatever it is, while staying in a place of compassion and love. For me, peaceful coexistence is about feeling stable in my integrity. It's about showing up authentically with an open heart, being willing to flow with the situation or person, and accepting who they are without judgment, allowing peace and compassion to flow through my heart while maintaining healthy boundaries of self-respect that protect the sanctity of myself and my family. It's about the long term. And it's very much a discipline. Something that we haven't talked about yet. Hang on, we got a question from Anime here. What do we got? What were our long-term visions? Yes, thank you for the recap. How do we imagine hope for a different outcome if you're coming from a struggly, futile, those difficult relationships? Like, I mean, many people have people they love that they really struggle with. This is not uncommon. How do we imagine hope for a different outcome? You have to leave room for people to change without expecting them to. Leave the space to get to know somebody again. In forgiving, we release the attachment to the old script and we actually allow both people to start writing a new story. That creates hope and possibility, and then we have to let go of our short-term emotional reactions to actually allow the other person to choose differently too. If I choose differently and not getting bitchy, then that creates the space for the other person to choose to also not be grumpy, right? It creates peace, it creates freedom. I insert hope into my boundaries regularly, and I create hope by maintaining my own integrity. People know where I stand. There's no mystery, there's no vague, there's no guessing, there's no walking on eggshells or wondering, where do I stand with Erin? Is she mad at me? I don't know. There's no hidden agenda here. If I'm upset or pissed off, I'm going to say, hey, I'm upset and pissed off. So the clarity in my boundaries creates consistency and stability because I maintain my disciplines in it. Everything we talked about is actually really useful for finding a way, and I'm talking about the whole thing, like with people you love, with family members you struggle with, to creating a new relationship that is peaceful, that is connected, that is actually, why you're going home for Christmas in the first place, because you love these people. Yeah, we have to. It's interesting. I mean, my husband and I have set a lot of boundaries with family members, and I think maybe this example will kind of help. So his father was really struggling. I would say just behaving badly, throwing temper tantrums, getting all ragey and controlly and coming over and yelling and stomping and stuff. And I said no, that behavior is not allowed in our home. And my husband said no, that behavior is not allowed in our home. So we had this beautiful united front on it, and it was not a quiet discussion, it was a hard boundary. And it basically came down to, I don't tolerate that behavior from a toddler. I'm certainly not going to have our toddler exposed to it. We love you. We value being here. We want to have a relationship with you. We want you to have the relationship with our children. We love you being here. If you're going to behave like that, you don't get to come over. That's a hard boundary. But in doing that, and then we didn't hold the grudge. We forgave it. We set the boundary clearly, and 100% to his credit, my father-in-law went, okay. Turned his behavior around faster than anyone else I've ever seen, actually. Like, he did a full about face in like 6 weeks. And over the course of the past few years, he's been an almost constant fixture in our home. He visits more than anybody, aside from my mom, who babysits all the time, which I'm very grateful for. And our kids love him. He's happy. His heart's open and connected. My husband and him have this, like, really beautiful respect for each other. And it's funny because my father-in-law is pretty old school. Like, he still thinks that I should be obedient. I know. At one point he did tell me that, right? But so he still kind of goes through like, she should listen. And he goes, but I respect her. So he always lands on respecting me now. There's nowhere else for him to go. And we can laugh, we can joke. We have this beautiful, beautiful relationship that we were able to create because we were willing and united to set that boundary that was really hard. But it was protecting the sanctity of our home, protecting our children, protecting ourselves, protecting the integrity of the relationships that we had. Like, we were not going to invest in angry relationships with people we love. I'm not going to do that. We're not going to do that. That's not how things are going to go here. And I love you. And no, right? It's a hard no. But in that, we had to be patient and focused on the long term and maintaining those boundaries. And something that I do is, and my husband does as well, is one of the values we're very much united on, which is most of them actually, is I protect myself and my children from being mistreated, abused, or from becoming collateral damage from the consequences of an adult's dark patterns, right? And in doing that, I create a peaceful existence for them, right? It's not about protecting naivety, although they're still really young. So, we'll get through all those things. But, I mentioned last week that we have a family member struggling in active addiction right now. It's heartbreaking. It's hard. It hurts my kids, right? They are sad. And that person is not allowed to make promises to our children. Just not allowed. Still, we love you. Absolutely. Let's have a birthday party. Let's connect. Let's send you a gift. Let's do all the things. But I also answer their questions directly. I don't minimize, I'm talking to a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, so I'm not like getting into a big description of anything. But I don't make excuses, and I create space for their feelings, and I honor their boundaries. And I teach them forgiveness. So there's still love there, but they're not confused. We're not creating confusion. And again, like Christine asked me, how do I maintain hope for what will be on the other side? I have no idea. We're right in the middle of it. I don't know what this road looks like. I know what the road of addiction looks like, and it's heartbreaking. And I know that my kids aren't going to be exposed to it without me being actively monitoring every step of that, because they're little and they are not to be collateral damage from adults' dark crap. So when I sucked at boundaries, like back when I met Andrew, when I sucked at boundaries, I was really underestimating my own value and worth. I didn't believe that I was worth investing in, or that I was valued enough for someone to make the effort to keep around. I was afraid that if I set a boundary, I would be abandoned, or I would be disposed of. I thought I was disposable. So I had to walk on eggshells and compromise my integrity to avoid being disposed of. I couldn't see myself. I couldn't see my value in the relationship. So when I locked into what my values are, what my worth is, what I offer, what I bring, what my standards are, what I hold myself accountable to, then I was able to set boundaries and learn that really it's just, I'm not going to invest in something that brings me down. It doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to engage in stupid patterns with people I love. No. And I love you, and I hope we get through this. So people aren't disposable. We don't eliminate people. Andrew and I definitely don't eliminate people. What we do is we set boundaries, and people will rise or they will eliminate themselves. If somebody values you, they will choose to respect the boundary and they will rise to the challenge. So it's in those boundaries that we actually create the guidelines and parameters for what peaceful coexistence looks like. So in me saying, if you yell at me, I'm hanging up, and then doing that, then I'm creating the guidelines of there will be no yelling in our relationship. We can have a relationship, there will be no yelling. And yes, people do eliminate themselves. Yes, if you set boundaries with someone who's locked into dark and double down onto it and they are going down for destruction, you set those boundaries, well, you'll get things like, you know, with our family member in addiction, not really talking to us right now, definitely avoiding me, doesn't want to have any chats with me. It's the weirdest thing. Surprising, right? Because I will not buy into the denials and I will not minimize the consequences, but I will love them. And I will say I miss them. Right? Okay. Questions here, let me check. Yes, we create an incredible environment in our house. Jody, what do you think a child or adult, if a child or adult is lying, how do you stay connected, open heart, and hold the boundary? If you think they're lying or if you know they're lying? Is that what you're asking? How do you stay connected, open heart, and hold the boundary? It's what I said earlier, it is about, scrolling, it's about me operating in my highest light and talking to their highest light. Honoring who I am in my highest light and seeing the other person as who they are in their light and guiding the relationship to highlight both of our light. What that often sounds like for me is it doesn't feel like you're being honest, right? Somehow you're not showing up, you know, in who you are. However you want to approach that. I don't know the situation. The next thing I say is, I know who you are. You are good. You are kind. You care. I know you are invested in this relationship and that you are capable of showing up honestly. And I know you're capable of doing better. And I love you and I forgive you. And lying will not be happening in this relationship. This is not who you are, and this is not how we're going to be. I remind people of who they are in their light. That's what Andrew does too. We talk to people's light. We talk to their highest good. And we set boundaries with their dark stupid. If you're setting boundaries with somebody and they're constantly disrespecting you and you actually maintain those boundaries, you will probably part ways. So that's actually about letting go of the fear of losing people who are mistreating you. Well, that's about developing your actual sense of worth, right? Do you actually realize that you are valuable enough, that you are worth being valued? Are you respecting yourself? When we're not respecting ourselves, we tend to attract people who will disrespect us. It's a good mirror, right? And all of this is about consistency. All of it. You know, we think we should just have to do things once. It's absolutely ridiculous. You don't go sign up for a, 3-week boot camp. Go do your boot camp and then go sit on the couch and eat chips for 3 years and wonder, why isn't the boot camp working? Why aren't my boundaries working? I set them already. I already went to the boot camp. No, it's about maintenance. These things have to be maintained. And we get challenged to level up all the time. We get challenged and struggle to rise, as I said right at the beginning of the evening, I had some feelings coming down here today, right? Because I'm here. And it's just the next round. It's just the next level up. It's just the next opportunity to enhance our connection, enhance our relationship, check my values, check my integrity, check where I'm at, assess where I can adjust. That's life. That's actually what we're aiming for. Okay, I'm checking. Okay, Jody, did I answer your question? All right, Lillian, let me answer your question. Okay. I got to track this. Tracking the whole family here. Your husband has good boundaries, Lillian. How do you set the boundary is you say, I love you. I want you to feel welcome here because you are welcome here, and I value family, and I care, and our home is a safe place, and this isn't working for me. You say what you just said. You already said the boundary, Lillian. Right? It's your home. It's Russ's home. You can set boundaries in your home with what energy and behavior and people you're going to have in it. You actually do it all the time. So it's just about... Okay, so Lillian, what I think you're asking is, how do I set that boundary without upsetting anybody, creating any conflict, or having any sort of rupture or ripples in the relationships? You don't. You let go of the short-term people pleasing to maintain the long-term stability. You set boundaries in a kind way to outline what stable, peaceful coexistence looks like. And then you accept that sometimes people react and respond in short-term fear, reactionary, not so pleasant ways. And you maintain your integrity and your values in what you're creating in the long term. You accept the short-term struggle. Oh, Cheryl's adding, express all your feelings. We often leave out our desires when setting a boundary. Yeah. Maybe not all of your feelings. You don't need to like express every single feeling you have necessarily. Maybe be discerning there. Maybe vent and forgive and deal with your stuff first before you go dump it on somebody. But definitely expressing what your actual desires are. Because that's what I do, is I desire us to have a close relationship. I love you. I desire you be healthy. I want you to have a relationship with our children. I want you to be in our lives. I see who you are. I love you. I've constantly, and Andrew does this too, constantly reaffirmed the positive and the desires and the long-term commitment. In what I said way at the beginning of the evening of in I'm willing to fight you for my career, we got 30 or 40 years, was I actually restated and reaffirmed my commitment to our marriage. That's what I did. So peaceful coexistence comes by prioritizing long-term stability with discipline, stability, and consistency to actually maintain what makes sense and let go of the short-term fear. And on that note, I think I'm done. Andrew's trying to call me. Hang on. Let me see if Andrew has final words. Hey, Christine, can you get Andrew back?
On a phone.
Invite. I'm trying to get Andrew back. How do we do this?
Not on the computer, on my phone.
I have no idea.
Okay, don't worry. I'll let you finish up tonight.
Well, they can hear you right now. Probably not well.
I just wanted to add to be okay, then may I talk?
Can somebody give me a thumbs up if you can hear Andrew? Or just Christine, tell me if you're okay. Yep, okay.
Hear me?
Christine can hear you. Carry on, Andrew.
All right. First of all, where I left off kind of was like how proud I am of you, but now I'm even more proud because as I was working with a client, I was listening. And yes, you are summing up and encapsulating not only everything you learned in your private life by applying disciplines that have worked for you, but you are telling people it's possible for you. It's
Pause. I'm
possible
just
for
trying
anybody.
Pause, Andrew. I'm just trying to fix the audio here. Okay, keep trying. Keep talking.
Changes are always possible. Changes are always possible. And it's important that people know this. Anybody, for anybody, it doesn't, we at times we've seen impossible changes in humans. You can talk to these people, you can, there's chat lines, I'm sure we're up on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Aaron?
Yep.
I mean, there's numerous ways where people can access time heal. Everyone always feels, and I keep saying my new one of the week, there's billions of other people just like you who think it can't be done. Why isn't there people thinking it can be? Why? Ask yourself. It's suspicious at best. What do we see all great people do? They surmount what people say can't be done. So therefore, give it a try. I won't use the word no ROM. She thinks it won't last. Stop your no ROM behavior. Start your no ROM behavior. Stop moron behavior. Change the patterns. And yes, I'll let you finish up tonight, Aaron, but I'm very proud of how you unselfishly made it about everybody can do this, not just us.
Oh, yeah.
Where you've helped people. You've helped people understand all the avenues. You've applied it to yourself personally and humbly. All respect to your husband. I know that you love him, and I know that you two are an amazing couple. Mm-hmm. So I just desire that everyone know it's possible. But if you don't point yourself there, you'll have much less moments of it anyhow. To have peaceful, realistically peaceful coexistence, but just not constantly. Nobody's perfect. Everyone then wants this idealistic. How can it stay that way forever? Well, then you're boring. Get a life. You don't want it to stay that way forever. You want challenges. You want to have differences so that you can appreciate the fulfillment in trying to help each other grow. Without the conflict struggle, there's no growth. You can make it work, folks. Have a good night. Talk to you later, Aaron.
Bye, Andrew.
Bye.
There you go. On that note, it's possible. So if you didn't hear everything Andrew said, he basically said, it's possible, point yourself in that direction. And to bring it back to what he said initially, you just got to be willing to compromise your ego construct to find peace with other people. It's definitely doable. And it's definitely about long-term. And sometimes there will be short-term struggle and short-term discomfort to get to that long-term piece. And that's kind of the point. So, all right, I'm going to say goodnight, and we'll see you for whatever our next topic we decide to be. Who knows? Be something else. Okay, good night.